You're not feeling chest pain, but lately you've been unusually tired. Waking up in the middle of the night with a racing heart and cold sweat soaking through your shirt. Maybe you blame it on insomnia, anxiety, or just getting older. But what if your heart is silently crying for help and you're about to miss your last chance to survive? When a woman's heart speaks up, it doesn't scream like a man's. It whispers. It hides behind waves of fatigue, a night of unexplained sleep disturbance, or a sudden spell of nausea in the middle of the afternoon. As a doctor, I've seen too many women arrive at the hospital too late. Not because they were careless, but because no one ever told them heart attack symptoms in women don't look the same as they do in men. What they feel is often dismissed, blamed on stress, perimenopause, or just overthinking. But today, I want to change that. In this video, I'll walk you through the top 5 signs of a heart attack in women, backed by research from Mayo Clinic, Harvard Health, and the American Heart Association. If you're a woman, or you have a mother, a wife, a sister, check carefully. The next few minutes could save a heart that's quietly calling out for help. Chest pain or discomfort. Most women don't realize they're having a heart attack because they don't feel the kind of chest pain they've always been told to expect. No one told them that heart attack symptoms in women are often different instead of sharp pain. It may be a sensation of pressure, tightness, or a dull discomfort in the center of the chest, sometimes radiating to the neck, down the left arm, or around to the upper back. These symptoms are often mistaken for muscle strain, acid reflux, or just stress-related fatigue. A study from Harvard Medical School found that nearly 43% of women who experienced a heart attack had no noticeable chest pain. In most of those cases, they delayed going to the hospital not out of denial, but because they didn't think it was their heart. As a doctor, I once treated a 59-year-old woman who came in complaining of fullness in the chest and jaw pain. She said she only felt discomfort during physical activity and assumed it was indigestion. But her ECG revealed she had just experienced a non-ST elevation myocardial infarction, meaning part of her heart muscle had already died due to lack of blood flow. The most striking part, she never considered herself at risk. She didn't smoke, ate healthy. But what she didn't know was that menopause hypertension and a family history of stroke, specifically her mother, were more than enough to put her in the high cardiovascular risk group. If you're feeling chest discomfort, pain radiating to your jaw, neck, or left arm, or even mild shortness of breath when exerting yourself, don't try to self-diagnose. Don't wait for it to get worse. Get checked early because some mistakes don't give you a second chance to fix them. Sweating cold sweat, one of the most overlooked signs of a heart attack in women, is cold sweat breaking out in a sweat even when you're not moving. Don't have a fever and aren't feeling hot. It can hit suddenly, clammy palms, sweat soaking your back. A slight shiver like you're about to faint. Many confuse it with anxiety or brush it off as just normal fatigue. But in women, it can be the first and only warning sign before the heart stops. According to Cleveland Clinic, cold sweat is the body's sympathetic nervous system reacting to a critical drop in oxygen, often caused by reduced blood flow to the heart. That's why cold sweating is commonly accompanied by chest discomfort, nausea, or lightheadedness, especially in women over 50. In some cases, sweating is the only visible symptom. No chest pain, no shortness of breath. I remember a 63-year-old female patient who came in saying, "I'm sweating like I have a fever, but I don't." She didn't feel any chest pain, just weakness and a soaked shirt. At that moment, her blood pressure was slightly low, and her pulse was a bit fast. A troponin test later revealed elevated cardiac enzymes. She had just experienced an STEMI non-ST elevation myocardial infarction. What still haunts me is how close she came to staying home. If her daughter hadn't seen her shirt drenched in sweat while sitting in an air-conditioned room, we might have met her under very different circumstances. Cold sweat isn't always a heart attack. But if it comes with chest pressure, nausea, or unusual fatigue, don't ignore it. Unusual fatigue. If you start feeling completely drained after simple tasks like clearing a few dishes, walking a short distance, or just standing to cook, it's not just old age. It could be an early warning sign of a heart attack, especially in women. According to Johns Hopkins Medicine and the American Heart Association, unusual fatigue is one of the most commonly overlooked symptoms in women. When the heart is low on oxygen, it signals the entire body by draining your energy, making you feel exhausted even without any physical exertion. Unlike fatigue from lack of sleep or overworking, fatigue related to the heart often comes on suddenly, lasts for days, and doesn't go away even with rest. It doesn't come with a fever, and there's usually no clear cause. And when this fatigue is paired with shortness of breath, nausea, or lightheadedness, that's when you need to consider a cardiac origin. A survey by the National Institutes of Health (NIH) found that over 70% of women who had a heart attack reported unusual fatigue as a warning sign, but only 1 in 10 took it seriously. Most assumed it was stress menopause or a vitamin deficiency and missed the chance for early intervention. Don't ignore the exhaustion. If you feel like you no longer have the energy to do things that once felt effortless, if every morning starts with your body already running on empty, treat it as a signal to listen, not something to push through. Nausea v. Lightheadedness. There are days when you wake up with a strange, nagging feeling in your stomach. Not quite pain, but a lingering sense of nausea that sticks around all morning. Later in the day, you stand up and suddenly feel lightheaded, a brief wave of dizziness, a little blurry vision, then back to normal. You might think it's from irregular meals or maybe poor circulation. But for women, these subtle signs could actually be early warnings of an approaching heart attack, even when there's no chest pain at all. Recent data from cardiovascular monitoring programs in the U.S. has revealed that thousands of women are hospitalized for heart attacks after initially reporting only symptoms like nausea, dizziness, or mild disorientation, and neither they nor their doctors suspected anything heart-related. The result: delayed treatment, more severe heart damage, and worse outcomes than men. Why does this happen? When oxygen supply to the heart is reduced, areas of the brain that regulate balance and digestion are affected too. You may feel nauseated, slightly disoriented, or even have dry heaving, but with no chest tightness at all. That's exactly what tricks your brain into thinking it's something else, and why many women delay seeking help. What makes these symptoms dangerous is that they often appear while you're at rest, especially in the early morning or after a light meal when you least expect them. You assume you just need a little more rest while your heart is silently struggling. Don't dismiss nausea or lightheadedness just because they're vague. If these sensations come on suddenly without clear cause, and especially if they're paired with fatigue, sweating, or just that feeling that something's not right, trust your instincts. Get your heart checked. Sleep disturbances. When a woman starts having trouble sleeping despite no change in environment, no stress, no new medications, her body may be trying to say something. Many women just weeks before experiencing a heart attack report strange sleep disturbances, waking up in the middle of the night with a racing heart, shortness of breath, or a vague, unshakable sense of dread. No nightmares, no loud noises, just the feeling that something is looming. Experts from the American Heart Association have noted in their research nearly 50% of women who had a heart attack reported insomnia or unusually restless sleep beforehand, especially waking up multiple times between 1 and 5 a.m. This is directly linked to disruptions in the sympathetic nervous system, which controls heart rate and blood pressure, as the oxygen supply to the heart begins to fluctuate in brief, unnoticed episodes during the night. Not every case of sleep disruption signals heart disease, but the key difference is in how it feels. Sleep no longer restores energy. You wake up still exhausted, and your intuition tells you something's off in your chest. You don't need to have chest pain for it to be serious. When your sleep is no longer peaceful, that alone is enough reason to put your heart under review. Don't underestimate changes in sleep patterns. If you're dealing with persistent insomnia, waking up multiple times a night with sweating, fatigue, or an irregular heartbeat, don't just reach for a sleeping pill. Please get your heart checked immediately. Have you ever experienced unexplained fatigue, nausea, or lightheadedness, and never thought it could be heart-related? If so, don't panic. But don't stay silent either. You don't have to figure everything out on your own. All you need to do is listen to your body and care enough to get checked at a hospital or heart clinic. That alone means you're doing the right thing. No one is ever too late to be saved, only those who miss the chance in time. You deserve a healthy heart, not just because you need it, but because the people who love you need you to stay, to live fully, and to keep writing your story. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit follow. Well, keep coming back with the information. Support and heart your heart truly deserves.